The Rockwall County Historical Association in Texas says it right on its website. The state's smallest county with the biggest mystery. Is this proof of an antediluvian or pre-flood sophisticated society living in ancient Texas, and was it all buried under a torrent of sand and dirt thousands of years before anybody thought possible? Well, stick around, even if you think you've heard the story before. Probably not like this. Right off the top, it's got to be said, this could all just be a naturally occurring formation, what they call sandstone dikes, that's giving people apophenia. That's where you try to interpret meaning in meaningless things, like rocks. Similar to pareidolia, where you see a human face in your toast or something like that. Lots of experts have dismissed this all as just junk archaeology and science. It's just rocks, and all of it is led by your friends at the Smithsonian. Now, geologists have said it's just a natural sandstone dike that was discovered over 150 years ago. But if it's that simple, in the era of modern science, why does the debate continue? This is Rockwall, Texas, and it's not an ironic name. It takes the moniker from an amazing discovery that was made back in 1852 when settlers who had moved into the area when the Native American population had been pushed out towards reservations in Oklahoma. When they began dividing up the land, one family of settlers was digging a well and they discovered a wall, or what they thought was a wall. And they continued to dig, and they found more of it, and it ran right into the neighbor's property. Well, the two men who had that land, they were both stonemasons, and they took a look at this wall and the apparent mortar that was holding the blocks together, and they said it was clearly made by humans. And the deeper they dug, the more wall they found. This is a map allegedly showing the wall's rectangular footprint around the community. It was created by architect John Lindsay with help from NASA maps and probing the ground. This is where some confusion begins to settle in. Inside the rectangle are these little outcroppings of other massive sandstone formations, or lumps, only these don't seem to have the same precision as the main wall. These are seemingly natural formations, and the jagged edge around the side of the rectangle, well, that's thought to follow an ancient cliff edge. Critics say it's still all natural, but wall supporters say it's two separate things, the wall and possibly leftover structures or natural formations, which could account for why the Smithsonian experts and many geologists who look at specific areas say that all of it is natural, but almost all of the alleged main wall is buried underground on private property and totally inaccessible, and many areas that have been excavated in the past have since been filled in. An interesting point, all of the exposed area of the main wall that was found, well, it all sits at 550 feet of elevation above sea level. A very curious and consistent oddity if it's all natural. Now, this section of wall was recreated at the local museum apparently as it was found on a nearby property. And that's the same for this section of wall at the courthouse. It's held together with mortar, meant to be a recreation of how the stones were found before they were moved to the public areas, just as the original stonemasons who found the wall described it, blocks held together with a makeshift mortar. These are photos allegedly showing metal rings that were discovered embedded inside some of the rock wall, and supporters say it's proof it is not natural. But again, geologists say otherwise. It can happen. It's natural. Some stones excavated were also said to have had some kind of writing or images engraved on them. Even old newspaper reports about it. But there are no images, and those few stones, well, they vanished. Nobody knows where they are. It's thought they're in the possession of the Smithsonian. So who lived here? Who built the wall? Now, there isn't really a lot of good information online about the wall. There are some good individual researchers out there, and I've included some links below. But the granddaughter of one of the men who initially found the wall said that it's not all they found, that as the wall sloped inward and the stones became much larger, well, they also seemed to find archways in that wall and windows, including a claim that a large chamber was discovered with a high-pitched arched ceiling, and that was allegedly found in the spot where the courthouse was built. Many of the descriptions match similar walls in places like South America or even Africa. A controversial explorer and noted grave robber was one of the first to claim the wall was made by humans, comparing it to ancient ruins that he had seen half a world away. Ancient artifacts and locations that no other expert who came to assess the wall had seemingly visited. They had no first-hand personal experience with other ancient civilizations, and that may have helped seal the narrative. Considering this possible megalithic site in Montana, Sage Wall, well, it bears similar hallmarks to the one that was found in Rockwall, Texas, and it may have been of a similar construction, but it has also been completely dismissed as a natural formation, which it may be. And one final interesting point about that rock wall in Texas, well, that whole area seems to be buried by a torrent of mud and sand at one point, helping preserve the structure, if that's what it is, after a sudden cataclysm of unknown origin and time. What's clear is there could be much evidence we're not properly examining, or simply are allowing ourselves to be stonewalled into thinking there was never anything to look at to begin with. I'm Sean. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I've got great new material coming all the time. If you want to learn more, there's some helpful links in the description below. And tell me what you think. Share your thoughts. Is this all just natural formations? Or is there a bigger cover-up going on? I'd like to hear what you think. Stay tuned. There's another great video coming up next.